Quinn, one of the real women of Philadelphia. Have you ever wanted to get away and you just can't? Well, today I'm going to show you how, through your cooking, you can take a vacation. Take you over to France. We're going French and Swiss at the same time to give you a soup that your guests will love as an appetizer. This creamy, cheesy French onion fondue soup is going to get their motors running and ready for a main course. So I'm going to show you how to do it. First thing I want to do is I got a loaf of bread here and I let this out for a day or two. It's kind of hard. I'm not going to use it to break a window. I'm going to use it to make some croutons for our soup. So I'm just going to go ahead and slice some nice chunks of bread off of here. And we're not going to need more than that. So we're going to just cube this up. And we're going for a nice big crouton for in the soup. Now, traditional French onion soup usually has one giant crouton in it. But when you get fondue, you often get little pieces of bread to dip into the cheese. So we're going to kind of combine the two here so that you get the fondue and the French onion experience all at the same time. You're just going to throw this under the broiler. It is important when you're broiling things that you watch it carefully because things can burn rather quickly and unexpectedly in the broiler. So I have a jelly roll pan that I'm going to just transfer all this bread to. Just mainly the cubes. I'm going to try and leave behind all the little crumbs because they tend to burn quite quickly and we really don't want anything burnt in the soup. So I'm just going to spread these out. I'm going to take a little bit of nonstick cooking spray and just gently spray the croutons. You really don't need to add any other flavor to these. I'm going to pop these under the broiler. And keep our fingers crossed that we don't burn them. I'm going to get my cutting board ready now for my onion. What we want to use here is a sweet onion. I wouldn't recommend a regular Spanish onion. I would probably go with a Vidalia onion if you have that available. If you don't, a Spanish onion could work, but you want the sweetness and richness that comes from the caramelization of this onion, and you're going to get much more of that with the Vidalia onion than you are with the Spanish onion. So I just took the peel off of that, and I'm going to cut it in quarters, and then I just want very thin slices of onion here. Watch your fingers. Nobody wants a finger in their soup. And watch your nails too, because you could really ruin a manicure by chopping off a piece of your nail. Okay? So now, these onions are all chopped up, and we're going to melt some butter in a pan, and we're going to get these on low heat to caramelize. So let me show you how to do that. So I just took the croutons out from under the broiler, and they are just nice and golden brown, just like we wanted. We had the food gods on our side this time. So we're going to take this chopped onion, and I have 3 tablespoons of melted butter. We're going to start this on medium-high heat, just to get the onion started. That was 1 large Vidalia onion. Now I'm just going to work my spatula here to get these onions all separated. Okay, so what we want to do is once these onions have a nice sizzle going, we're going to want to reduce the heat back to low. And remember that patience is a virtue when it comes to caramelization. You need to do a low, slow cooking process to really bring out the natural sugars in the vegetable. And in order to do that, you want to keep an eye on it, but keep it on low heat. If you don't put it in long enough until it turns nice and brown, you're going to get translucent onions that just don't work well in this recipe. But if you leave them on too high, you're going to get burnt onions, and that don't work well in any recipe. So, I'm going to keep an eye on these, and I want to talk to you a little bit more about the other ingredients in our soup. And we'll come back when these are just about done and give you another look. What I have here is a ½ cup of cooked and crumbled bacon. You can go and cook your own bacon and crumble it if you have the time, I find that the pre-cooked and crumbled bacon works just fine here if you don't have the time, and that's what I'm using today. It also has a nice chewy texture that works really well in soup. Additionally, we have 1 cup of Gruyere cheese, which is divided into 2 1/2 cup portions. So I also have, of course, my Philadelphia cream cheese, because I am one of the real women of Philadelphia and I cook with it all the time. I have a whole bar of the original cream cheese, and I did soften that ahead of time, and we're going to use that in the soup as well, and I'll show you how. Okay, so the onions are nice and caramelized, and now I wanted to crank up the heat a little bit to get the pan nice and hot, because we want to deglaze the pan with some white wine. Any dry white wine will work well here. I'm going to use about 2/3 a cup of that white wine, and what we're doing is picking up all the little bits of onion that are stuck to the bottom of the pan, because they're loaded with flavor and we want to pick up all that flavor. So now that we've done that, let me turn that off so you can hear me a little bit. I'm going to add a pinch of thyme, or a sprinkle of thyme, and we're going to stir that in. This flavor is going to really be a nice complement to the onions. So now that we have that where we want it, I want to add in my bar of softened cream cheese. And I'm just going to stir that around in there and allow that to melt so that it kind of softens up a little bit more and incorporates with the onions. Okay, so that's actually just fine right about there. Now what we're going to do next is add some beef stock. You can make your own beef stock, just like I say about the chicken stock. But the stock that's in a box works fine too. We're going to use about half the box, which is a 32-ounce container. And what I want to do now is allow that to heat up, and I'm going to whisk it while that happens so that we can fully incorporate the cream cheese into this. At the same time, I want to add in the 1/2 cup of Gruyere cheese and allow that to melt in too. So that's where we are now, and I will show you what this looks like when it's all finished. So the soup's been simmering now for about 15 minutes, and it's bubbling away. It got a little bit thick, which is right where we want it. And I'm going to add in the bacon and just whisk that in as well. Look at that. Doesn't that look delicious? It's cheesy and oniony and bacony. Oh, I can't wait to try this. So basically, the soup is done, but we need to put it in the little crocks and put some croutons and cheese in it. And then we're going to toss it under the broiler for a minute, so I'm going to go ahead and get that heated back up. And I'm going to show you that now. So here we go. I have my little crocks all ready for the soup. I want to take a handful of croutons and put them in each bowl. I'm just going to make up 2 servings right now, but you could make about 4 servings of this for your guests, or 2 very hungry Frenchmen. And I'm going to take a nice ladle full of the soup and pour it right down on top of the croutons. I want to fill that up so that the croutons are completely submerged. And this really smells very good. The thyme and the onions and the bacon are very aromatic here, and I think it's going to be absolutely wonderful. Okay, so now that's all ready to go. I have the rest of the cheese that I reserved for this, and I'm going to just go ahead and put a little sprinkle of this on top here. Okay, so maybe this is better for 2 people than 4, because, I don't know, I could probably eat 2 bowls of this. Now I'm going to take that jelly roll pan from earlier that I used to toast the croutons, and I'm just going to put my crocks of soup right on here, and I'm going to slide them under the broiler. And when they come out, I want to show you my finish. So, voila! I hope that you enjoy this as much as I'm going to. I want to give it a little taste. Get a bit of the crouton and the creaminess from the cream cheese, man. This is dynamite. Très bien, as they say in French. So that's it for my recipe today. And all I could say is, bonjour!